Often, they threatened to lock us in after dark. We imagined only the fear of fire kept them from doing so. After all, burned-up property was akin to having no property at all. A quick word about the Lucys, if we must. To most, they were known as the Harlows, Mistress Lizzie and Master Charles of Liberty County, Georgia. Or really, she was of Liberty County, Georgia, and he was one of the many who came to the Texas countryside claiming to have no past, in hopes of making the land yield some invisible fortune he believed he was owed. But to us, they were just the Lucys, sometimes Miss or Mrs., Mr. or Master, but typically just Lucy, spawn of Lucifer, kin of the devil in the most wretched place most of us have ever known. One by one, we slipped out of the cabin and around the corner and farther still, past the Lucy's property line. There were 6 of us total, trudging single file into the forest. Junie led the way, followed by Patience, Lulu, Alice, and Sarah, while Nan, the eldest, brought up the rear. We slipped deeper into the grove of dead trees, the large oaks and elms skinned of their bark, in various stages of atrophy. This was believed to make clearing the land easier, but it seemed to us wholly unnatural, another sign that the land of the dead maybe didn't reside under the sea as we previously thought, but was somewhere nearby, in some neighboring county in Texas. When we became we, Texas country was still new, only a few years old in the Union. Navarro County was known as a land of wheat with dreams of cotton. Corn was the surer business, but men like Mr. Lucy came to Texas with cotton on the brain and dragged us along to make sure the land would yield. He had been unlucky before, we knew from Junie, because she had been with the Lucys the longest. She had worked for Mrs. Lucy before she was a Mrs., then was carried off to Wilkes County, Georgia, where she worked field after worn-out field as the couple's debt grew and grew. And she told us how they packed up and left in the dead of night to outwit angry creditors that threatened to seize what little he had left. By then, all Mr. Lucy had between him and sure ruin was 30 worthless acres and 3 slaves. They took to the road in 2 wagons stuffed to the gills with furniture, clothes, crockery, and seeds, the Lucys fighting all the while, their 2 small children screaming in fits. Harlow droned on about a vision from God, about a land of plenty, while his wife called him a fool with foolish ways, her pitch increasing with every mud hole, every windstorm, every feverish river of dirty water. God's favor would surely shine upon them, Harlow assured her. But when their 2 male slaves were seized and held at the trader's office in New Orleans for outstanding debts, Junie wondered if Lizzie was right all along. She knew she had only been spared a place in the trader's pen because on paper, Junie belonged to Lizzie, a dower slave held in trust for Lizzie's children. Junie never told us much about the 2 men who had been seized, if they were kith or kin, and if that was the reason she didn't work in the house for Miss Lizzie anymore. Instead, she told us about the tavern in New Orleans where they stayed for a couple of nights. How she sat on the back steps outside the kitchen, eating a bowl of bland rice, while the men's voices, drinking and carousing inside, carried out into the alley. How she was listening for Harlow's voice, to hear how he might go about retrieving the 2 men and how long that might take. He was sitting at a table a few feet away from the door, downing beer with his Uncle Pap, a Louisiana merchant, and she wondered how long Pap would continue bragging before he offered to pay Harlow's debt. But that offer never came. Instead, Pap told him, start fresh, take what you have left and invest in women. They are cheaper than men and more versatile, can not only pull a plow and clear land, but can cook and clean too. And best of all, they can breed, increasing a master's profit year over year every time a child is born. But be careful, boy, about using your own seed, the man warned.